Hey everybody, I hope you guys are doing well. Before I start with my video, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. The likes definitely help the video get out there. And listen, YouTube doesn't always monetize most of my content. A lot of my content does not get monetized. YouTube has favorites. They pick and choose who they want, okay? So I'm not a person that's like, oh, well, you have to do this for my channel if you're going to watch. No, I'm going to make the content anyway, but I work a full-time job. I'm usually up in the early mornings making these videos. So if you feel it in your heart to, make a $1 donation, $2 donation to my Cash App, $ the T by me, that'd be great. And it'd be much appreciated. But again, please don't ever feel like you have to do that. And I'm never going to pressure you to do that. It's just one of those things like, hey, closed mouths don't get fed. So, hell, I'm going to say something. All right. Now, I want you to kind of buckle in, go get yourself a snack because we're going to be here for a minute. All right. Because I want to talk about this shit show that's been happening over the last few days. I feel like I hope it's coming to an end, but I feel like it's also brought up a bigger conversation. Now, as you know, Gayle King was getting at work a few days ago, or just the last couple of days, when she interviewed Lisa Leslie about her friend Kobe Bryant. And a snippet was put out by CBS, which showed Gayle King pressing Lisa Leslie about Kobe's rape allegations. Okay, this has been, about 17 years ago? She was pressing her, and when Lisa Leslie pushed back and pretty much like, listen, let it go. The media needs to stop. She continued to press her. And that clip went viral and it got a lot of people upset and people were dragging Gayle. They were also dragging Oprah. And it was just a whole mess. All right. Now, we're going to talk about all of this. We're going to talk about all of it and the fact that it's all messed up. But first things first, before we get into it, I want to talk a little bit about the responses and the reactions that on both sides here. I want to talk about the response that Snoop Dogg gave, and I also want to talk about the response that Oprah Winfrey gave. She responded to this these threats that she was getting, Gayle King was getting. But first up, I want to go ahead and show you Snoop Dogg and how he responded to Gayle King. Go ahead and take a look at this, and then Oprah. Take a look, guys.
Gayle King, out of pocket for that shit. Way out of pocket. What do you gain from that? I swear to God, we the worst. We the fucking worst. We expect more from you, Gayle. Don't you hang out with Oprah? Why y'all attacking us? We your people. You ain't coming after fucking Harvey Weinstein asking them dumb-ass questions. I get sick of y'all. I want to call you one. Is it okay if I call her one? Funky dog-head bitch. How dare you try to tarnish my motherfucking homeboy's reputation, punk motherfucker. Respect the family and back off, bitch, before we come get you.
Yes. Speaking of holding hearts, and we did a show yesterday, Oprah, on best friends and how meaningful they are to us. And I think the last 24 hours for your best friend have been pretty difficult after that interview with Lisa Leslie about Kobe. And I just wondered just how she's doing.
She is not doing well. May I say she is not? She is not doing well because she has now death threats and has to now travel with security. And she's feeling very much attacked. You know, Bill Cosby is texting from, tweeting from jail. And she's not doing well and feels that she was put in a really terrible position because that interview had already ran.
Mm-hmm. It was over.
And in the context of the interview, everyone seemed fine, including Lisa Leslie. Mm-hmm. And it was only because somebody at the network put up that clip. And I can see how people would obviously be very upset if you thought that Gayle was just trying to press to get, an answer from Lisa Leslie. But she obviously, all things pass. She will be okay. But she hasn't slept in 2 days.
Really? What do you think about all that criticism?
I think the vitriol is, I think anybody can criticize anything, but the misogynist vitriol and the attacking to the point where it is dangerous to be in the streets alone, because it's not just the people who are attacking, it's the other people who take that message and feel like they can do whatever they want to because of it, you know?
You have built this community. That's what you're doing with this tour. That's what you do with your friends. We have best friends. We were talking about this last night, that if one of our friends was going through this...
It's you. There's no difference between you and...
What do you do?
You support them, and, you know, I was on the phone with her this morning. I was on the phone with her last night. I was on the phone with her the night before. I think you stand in the gap. You try to be there for your friends, but this is very hard, because when you have social media and the force of social media, and particularly people who didn't see either interview making attacks, and I think everybody has the right to have their opinion, but to do it with such vitriol is hate and meanness. Yeah.
Now, I've shown you 2 videos. I've shown you the video of Snoop Dogg. I felt like I was getting scolded by him with that damn bonnet on his head, and I felt like he was my mama coming up to the school cussing me out. And then I showed you the video of Oprah Winfrey responding to the backlash that her friend Gayle received, and it looked like she was attempting to cry about it, right? Now, let me talk a little bit about, and I'm going to get back to Snoop Dogg, but let me talk about the Oprah Winfrey video that I just showed you. When I saw this video and I saw her response, I thought to myself, Oprah, I just don't have any empathy in this moment for her. And let me explain why. Those tears did nothing for me. Those tears did nothing for me because I thought to myself, well, Oprah, did you ever stop and think about, like, while you're sitting here defending your friend, which you're supposed to do, that is her friend, that is her God-given right to defend her friend in that moment. Did she ever stop and think about how other families may have been feeling or how they have to walk around, maybe with some security, they have to walk around a little different, watching their back because of what you put out there? When Oprah Winfrey did that whole Leaving Neverland thing, where she sat down with the accusers, did she ever stop and think about, I don't know, Katherine Jackson or Michael Jackson's kids, and how that may have affected them mentally? Maybe they were getting teased and they were getting taunted, and the terrible things that people were saying to them. Did she ever stop and think about that in the moment? I guess she did not. Did she ever stop and think about Russell Simmons' 2 daughters? Regardless of whether you believe Russell Simmons did something or he didn't, did you ever stop and think about when she was engaged in that and said she was going to be a part of that documentary? Did she ever stop and think to myself, what is this going to do to his 2 daughters who have to still walk around? The youngest is in college right now. That she has to engage people who are taunting her and teasing her over foolishness. So I don't think Oprah Winfrey thought about any of that. So that in itself, I just don't have any, like, oh, poor Gayle, poor Oprah. I don't. I didn't agree with anything that Gayle did or said. However, I think Snoop's approach, I didn't like it. And Mark Lamont Hill put this out. He said, the word for today is nuance. You can have a critique of Gayle King, though folks should actually watch the whole interview and hold Snoop accountable for the misogynistic way he engaged her. Shout out to girl dads from last week who are now trying to justify calling Gayle King a funky dog-faced bitch. I see you. Now, Mark Lamont Hill, who every now and then I may agree with him, every blue moon, all right, still give him the side eye because he didn't sit there with Shawnee O'Neal and Evelyn Lozada and OG and had OG over here and tried to justify Evelyn and Shawnee, right? So I kind of give him the side eye. But on this one, I actually agree with him. All right. So even though I disagree with everything that Gayle King attempted to do at that moment when trying to press Lisa Leslie, that does not mean that I think Snoop's response, as well as anybody else, should have been calling them bitches and hoes. I don't agree with that. That bothered me from the beginning. When I saw his video, I thought to, and threatened her. So I can't forget that. He also threatened her. That troubled me. And the reason why it troubled me is because I feel like here we go again. Here we go again with this disconnect between black men and black women, and how there is no way to disagree with one another without just calling people bitches and hoes. Now, I keep seeing people say, well, he from the street, that's how he talk. Well, the truth of the matter is that he don't have no respect for his wife either. So I guess I shouldn't expect a lot from Snoop Dogg. I really shouldn't expect a lot from Snoop Dogg, who doesn't have any respect for his own wife and has called women bitches and hoes since, hell, since he been in the music industry, right? So yeah, that's not completely shocking. But what bothers me is that so many people engaged in it too. So many people engaged in calling these women bitches and hoes, and I just cannot rock with that. I cannot rock with that. Two things can be true at the same time, and that's the problem with society, is that people acting like everything has to be black and white all the time. Like you either over here with us or you over there with them, and that's not the case. I can absolutely positively disagree with what Gayle King did. I don't like that Gayle King did that, and I don't like that she tried to come back on her little live video and say, well, if I had only seen that clip, I would have been upset too. And that it was a whole interview, and I only asked one question, and I've been hanging out with Kobe Bryant. I've engaged with Kobe Bryant for years. We've seen each other. We in the same circles. And I'm just thinking to myself, well, Gayle, if you know all that and you have engaged him many, many years, why haven't you attempted to even sit down and have a one-on-one conversation with him? Why do you bring it up in depth? Why did that have to be brought up in depth when it felt very much like you were attempting to put a rape on him when it actually was dropped? Now, a lot of people go back and forth about this whole thing with Kobe Bryant. I've read the documents. I remember when the case was going on. I read about this, and me personally, I don't think he raped the woman. I don't. I've read all of it. I read a lot, and I don't think he raped that woman. I think that they was doing some freaky deaky shit. He got rough, and she, wanted to cry rape. Now, that's my opinion. Even if you disagree with me, you don't have to get on here and say, you funky dog, fake bitch. Do you understand what I'm saying here? We can disagree, and it doesn't have to result in you calling me names, just like it didn't have to result in people calling Gayle names, even though, again, I disagree with her. I disagree with the fact that this Gayle King now wants to go and throw CBS under the bus and say, well, I'm going to have a big talk with them. And they edited it to look like this. And I'm just thinking, no, Gayle, you sound just like them damn reality show folks talking about, well, I didn't say it like that. They edited my words. No, if you said the words, they can't edit nothing you don't say. So if you said it, they can edit all around it and put other stuff in there. But if it came out of your mouth, you got to own it because you still said it. I don't give a damn what they did to the video and all this other stuff. You still said it. So for that, Gayle is full of shit. But you see, I can sit here and say she's full of shit, but not just completely annihilate this woman and dishonor this woman by calling her bitches and hoes. I don't think she's a bitch or a hoe. And that is the problem. People act like you cannot be disagreeable with somebody without completely dragging them by calling them bitches and hoes. Black women in particular. Do you not understand that black women get it really hard? I mean, they get it. We get it so rough. Here we are always throwing on the cape for black men who, by the way, I don't mind putting on the cape and getting out there and defending black men whom I love when it is something that can be defended. I don't mind it. I don't. But I would appreciate if those same black men, if they disagree with me, can engage me in a way that does not dishonor me. And that is all I am saying. You can have an individual gripe with a person down the street. A man can have an individual gripe with a woman down the street like that bitch. You know what I'm saying? It happens all the time. But Snoop Dogg has a platform. It's different. It's different, and maybe y'all don't see it, but it's different. And the fact that had a man reporter did the same thing, I'm wondering if Snoop Dogg would have had the same reaction to it. If a man reporter had did the same thing, a black man, let me get it straight. If a black male reporter had did the same interview and attempted to press her, would you have had the same exact response and wanted to meet this guy outside and call him all kinds of whatever you want to call him? Now, I'll never know because it hasn't happened. But I wonder about it. I do. And another thing I wonder about is, while people are going after Gayle King and Oprah Winfrey for their ties to Harvey Weinstein and Charlie Rose and all this other stuff, which again, that's valid. That is valid, because I do understand why people are mad about that. I don't like that either. I don't like the fact that they will, it seems like there is an attempt to, sully the names of these men over here that are black, but you want to hold and reserve judgment on the white guys. That's an agenda, though. That's part of a bigger agenda that Oprah, Gayle, and other feminists engage in. Okay, because they're part of that feminist movement. I don't engage in white feminism. I don't believe in it at all. But there's a few black women who fall under that category where they engage in white feminism. Gabrielle Union is another one. I can talk about how she engaged in white feminism when it came to Nate Parker. I can talk about all of that. Okay, but what I'm saying is all that is true. Okay, so I can see why people are upset. But I want you to think about something for a second. While people are pulling up, and as you can say, I'm pulling up pictures of Gayle, and I'm connecting Gayle to Matt Lauer and Harvey Weinstein and Oprah, to all of them. We can also connect some of these very men that are coming out saying all kinds of shit about Gayle King and Oprah Winfrey to the same men. And I don't hear a peep about it. I don't hear a peep. Snoop Dogg, before he was against Donald Trump, was for Donald Trump. He used to hang out with him. I've seen Jay-Z and Harvey Weinstein together. I've seen a lot of these black men that are now coming out saying stuff to Gayle and Oprah and saying, well, what about Harvey Weinstein? What about Harvey Weinstein? Well, these are some of the same guys that you used to run with, though. These are some of the same guys that were in your circle, too. And nobody ever came at y'all the same way that you're coming after these women. I'm just saying, it's awfully curious that they are not getting that same smoke about it. Okay. Now, do I think that there is an agenda to use these women? Or should I say they don't mind being used by these white supremacist networks? Because, a network, if a network or a news media want to paint a certain narrative, they're going to paint a certain narrative. And so they pick certain people to help paint that. And so we've seen it before. You will put a certain person up there, especially a black woman, a lot of times in certain instances, a black woman like a Gayle King or a Oprah Winfrey, to push these certain narratives. It's like, listen, we're on this side. We're over here with the Me Too, Me Too, Me Too. All right. And we know that that exists. We know that exists. So that conversation certainly can be had about those women. I think that's a very valid conversation to have. But isn't it also a very valid conversation to have about the black men that are also being used to push white supremacist ideas by negating black women and disparaging black women? Do you think that when these rappers, like, again, let me just take Snoop Dogg because I'm thinking about him right now, or 50 Cent, when they were putting out their albums and they were at the label, you don't think that those executives were around the table and read the lyrics and saw the bitches and hoes in the lyrics? And then they knew who the bitches and the hoes were. They were black women. These executives didn't have to sit like, I wonder are they talking about white women? I wonder are they talking about Jewish women? I wonder are they talking about Asian women? No, they knew that they were talking about black women. Matter of fact, they probably told them to add some more bitches and some more hoes in there. So what makes that any different? What makes that any different that they're also engaging in the destruction of black people? They're engaging in the destruction of a black woman. If you think that these women are engaging in the destruction of a black man, that's why I'm saying there's such a disconnect between black men and black women. And I wish that we can, for once, get on code about something, because this was off code all the way. Now, the only person I feel like was on code in this whole mess was Lisa Leslie. She was on code. The reason why people are pissed is because they felt like Gayle King was not on code. But the fact that people expected her to be on code was just shocking to me, because Gayle King has never struck me, nor did Oprah Winfrey has struck me as being people that would be on code. Lisa Leslie stayed on code. I feel like that should have been it. That should have been it. Yeah, you can get mad at Gayle King for asking the question. She's still a journalist at the end of the day. You can get mad at her, but we should have been more celebratory about the fact that Lisa Leslie stayed on cold in the moment. But don't you think that Snoop Dogg got off cold when he out here calling black women bitches and hoes? I thought that was off cold. No matter how you disagree with these women, he was off cold. He absolutely was. And nobody wants to acknowledge that or admit that he was off cold in that moment. And Lil Boosie was off cold in that moment. And everybody that called these women bitches and hoes, every black man that called these women bitches and hoes, and okay, women, you ain't off the hook either, because a lot of black women was out here doing the same thing. And I'm just thinking to myself, well, I definitely hope that these black men will have our backs the same way if something was to go down and we need them. We need y'all. I hope that we can depend on y'all to go after somebody with the same vitriol. And I don't know. I just don't know. And that's unsettling that I don't know that. That's unsettling that I don't know and I'm not sure. We should be sure. We should all be on one accord. I will say this, though. I was actually kind of proud for a hot second, that we all seem to have came together in a collective to at least agree, most of us, that Gayle King was wrong. Right now, obviously our approaches were different, which is why this video is being made. But I had to stop and think to myself, how does this move the needle in any way? If we can get on one accord about some shit that matters, we could certainly be very powerful. When black men and black women can come together on one accord and be on code about something that matters and will actually move the needle, then this will matter. But saying that we want to, fuck Oprah and fuck Gayle and we're canceling them don't mean shit, because at the end of the day, I just don't think you can really cancel rich people. That's just my opinion. You don't have to really engage them. You don't have to talk about them. Maybe her numbers will go down on OWN network. Maybe people won't sit and watch CBS. Not that I think that they ever watched CBS in the first place, but it just dawned on me that if we were able to come as a collective and get on Gayle's ass and get on Oprah's ass about Kobe Bryant, certainly we could use that same collective effort for something that matters. Not to say that Kobe's life didn't matter. I'm not saying that at all. I get why people feel like they have to protect black men in that way, because black men over the history of this country have been accused of stuff, right? And we feel like we all have to swoop down and save them. I get that. But in the same breath, black men, and I'm talking to the black men that with the bitches and the hoes, I'm talking to y'all. In the same breath, we are asking that you show the same respect in return for the black women that are out here looking out for you. Don't every time, the minute you disagree and you get upset with us, now we're bitches and we're hoes. To the world, guys. This wasn't no infighting. This is in the house. What happens in the house stays in the house kind of fight. This traveled all over the world. And all people are watching all over the world is the Snoop Doggs of the world and all these other people in the world calling this woman a funky dog-faced bitch. And maybe I got the words all mixed up. I don't know, but it still means the same thing. Shit. Dog-faced funky bitch. Whatever. And I'm sitting here like laughing at some of the people. I'm like, wait, y'all riding with Snoop Dogg? The man who disparages black women all the time? The black women are riding with Snoop Dogg, and he disparages black women all the time. People riding with Lil Duval, who says all kinds of shit about women and their hair. Y'all riding with Lil Boots. Y'all riding with all of these guys? Like, come on now. No. Like I said, two things can be true. I can disagree with Oprah Winfrey, and I can also disagree with Snoop Dogg. I can disagree with both of them. I don't have to be on either, all right? I didn't like how either Gayle King nor Snoop Dogg handled this. It was handled poorly, in my opinion. It was handled poorly, and I hope that it doesn't further divide or create this divide between black men and black women. Because I absolutely positively don't believe that black men, or the majority of black men, are out here to destroy black women. But you also, guys, don't want this guy speaking for you. And I hope you don't want this guy speaking for you. If you got a daughter, you got a mama, you got a sister, that the minute that somebody disagrees with her, she has to be hoes and bitches and sluts and skanks and Just think about how you would feel if a man engaged your daughter like that for anything, for disagreeing with him. You wouldn't like it. So certainly we can disagree with each other without painting this picture that black women are to be disrespected when you disagree with them, and be disrespected globally in a way that I just don't think it helps anybody. Because at the end of the day, it's not going to bring Kobe Bryant back. At the end of the day, people are going to believe what they want to believe about Kobe Bryant. I personally like Kobe Bryant. I'm a basketball fan. I'm not a bandwagoner. I like Kobe Bryant. I personally think he was always second after Michael Jordan. And I personally don't think that he raped that woman. But those are my beliefs. So Gayle King and Snoop Dogg wouldn't change that anyway. They could not change my mind about what I think about him. All right? They can't. But we have certainly got to watch how we speak about each other when we're out of the house. We shouldn't speak about each other like that. I can call my man all kinds of names, but when we walk out those doors, he's a king to me. And I could be like, nigga, you didn't take out the garbage, your dumb ass. Now, that's between us. But when we out in public, that's my king. So I need you to think about, black men, how you speak about black women out in public too. Even if you disagree with her, you got to have a better way to talk to her. And black women, I would strongly encourage you to really rethink this standing behind white women in this white feminism movement. Because they'll have you standing out there by yourself. You see, ain't nobody really out here taking up for Oprah Winfrey right now. Where are all the white women that where are all these white women at? Ain't nobody saying shit. So hopefully that'll be a lesson to Gayle and Oprah, that you can't trust them either. All right, so that's just my take on it. I hope you guys understand. Even if you disagree with it, I definitely hope you understand where I was coming from, because I just think it's a mess all the way around, and it seems to be less about Kobe at this point. All right, but there has to be a better way that we can engage each other, because I love my black men, and black men, I want y'all to love us, but we just want to be respected too, guys. So anyway, I'm going to end this video. I hope that you guys will go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe, and let's talk about this, right? Let's just talk about, what do you guys think about this whole thing? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you in the video. I hope you finish your snack. I told y'all it was going to be long. Anyway, see you guys on the next video. Take care.